Hi folks, this is Sundar from Vision Academy. This is a series of lectures on transportation problem, and today I will address a special case in transportation problem, that unbalanced transportation problem and problem with degeneracy. So far we have calculated for non-degeneracy problem. In this lecture I will address unbalanced and degeneracy problem. So this will be solved by Ogle's approximation method and Modi method. This is a lecture 6th series. So already lecture 1 to 5th have uploaded in YouTube, and URL is available in description box. You can refer those videos for those videos. And this is a problem we have to solve today. So here we have our three factories ABC, three factories, and which supply to warehouses DEFZ. The monthly factory capacity is 160, 150 and 190 respectively. Factory A capacity is 160, B is 150 and C is 190, and monthly warehouse requirement are 80, 90, 110 and 160 respectively. So this is the units shipping cost is also given in the cost matrix. After taking capacity and requirements into consideration that are available in the problem, capacity and requirement, so the problem looks like this. And now firstly we should check the problem is balanced or unbalanced. Here we need to check the balanced problem or unbalanced problem. When I add all the capacity, ABC capacity, it is total capacity available is 500. When I add requirement of DEFG, the total requirement is 450. So it means the problem is unbalanced. So I have already explained what is unbalanced transportation problem, wherein the total capacity of all sources, and total requirement, it means demand, total requirement are not equal, called the unbalanced transportation problem. So let me see how to tackle this problem. If the total capacity of sources is greater than or lesser than to the total requirement available in destination, so then in this case the total capacity is greater than the total requirement. So I have inserted dummy destination. For this case we have to add a dummy destination in the transportation problem with zero transportation cost. Here look at here, I have not added any values for dummy variable, only zero transportation cost. So it does not work the value won't increase or decrease by adding zero transportation cost. And only the requirement I have matched up here. The total requirement from DEFG destinations are 440. So now I have added 60 requirement to dummy variable. This is how you will convert unbalanced transportation problem into balanced transportation problem. Unless you convert unbalanced transportation problem into the balanced one, you cannot apply any tools available in transportation problem. Friends, let us solve this problem by using Ogle's approximation method and Modi method. So before that, let's understand very briefly what are the steps in Ogle's approximation method. First, you need to identify the penalty, determine penalty for each column and row together. Penalty for each column and row, and select highest penalty among row and column. You should compare row and column and you should select the highest penalty. Find least cost cell relating to highest penalty. It means you have selected penalty, the value relating to highest. So relating to that cell, you should identify the highest least value in the least cost in the least cost in least cell. So after finding that least cost cell relating to highest penalty, allocate as much as possible to that row or column found in this step. It means least cost relating to highest penalty. So at the end, you will calculate the transportation problem using allocation and CA is a value. Now let's calculate the basic feasible solution under Vogel's approximation method. As I said you, the steps you need to follow to solve the basic feasible solution in Vogel's approximation method. First step, you should take the difference in column and row. Now I will concentrate on A row. So let's take a difference in cost sheet. So in the cost sheet, first least cost is 0 and second one is 37. The difference is 37 minus 0, 37. Secondly, again 0 and second least cost is 40. The difference 40 minus 0, that exactly 40. And again 0, 38. 38 minus 0, it is 38 only. And now come to the column difference. First least cost is 39. Second one is 40. And the difference is 40 minus 39, 1. And in the second column, first least cost is 38, second one is 48. The difference is 10. And in the third column, first least cost is 38, second one is 40. The difference is 2. And in the fourth column, first least cost is 37, second one is 43. The difference would be 6. And in the fifth column, we can't take any difference here because 0 values are 0 and second least cost is also 0, so we can't take any difference. But if you take difference, it would be 0. Now once you find the penalty between row and column, let us identify which one is highest. The highest penalty is 40, which is in from row. In the column, highest penalty is 10. So after this, identify the cost which is least relating to that highest penalty. 0 is least compared to other cells. So now compare requirement and capacity. Requirement is lesser than capacity. You can assign whole requirement. So once you are allotted the requirement, so 60, it becomes 0 requirement from each dummy destination, and out of 60 you assigned out of 50 you assigned 60. So it means the remainder in this capacity is 90. I also obtained the difference 2, that's penalty for difference 2, in the same way which we occurred in the first difference. So in this, difference is highest in row, in column highest difference, that penalty is 10. In the row, highest penalty is 9. So the highest is 10 compared to row and column. Now identify the least cost cell pertaining to that highest penalty. So 38 is least among other three casters. Now compare requirement and capacity. Capacity is 190, requirement is 90. You can assign whole 90 requirement to this cost. Once you assign requirement, the 90 remainder is 0, and you can strike out the rest of the cells relating to this. So and out of 190 you assigned 90, the remainder is 100. Difference for D3 and D4 obtained in the same way, that D3 and penalty for D3 and penalty for D3 row and D3 column. So in the earlier difference, it was at 12, highest was 12, so 12 highest. So I selected the least cost relating to this, it was 40, and I assigned 80 to 80 because it was least among penalty, capacity and requirement. 80 is least. I assigned 80 and I strike out all these cells, and remainder is 10 for this. Now let us calculate the penalty for the fourth row and column. In the fourth row and column, highest difference is 6. difference is 6 and it here it is 3. So I will concentrate on 6. Let us find the cell which is pertaining to least cost pertaining to this. So 37 is a least cost relating to highest penalty in this case. Now compare requirement and capacity. The requirement and capacity is same, so that now you can assign whole thing 160. So here reminder is 0. When it is 0, you can strike out other cells, and here also the reminder is 0. When it is 0, you can strike other cells. Okay, so in this way you obtained this that you allocated values, and last two cells are remaining in this cost sheet. So let's select least value in the two cost sheet, 52 and 40. 40 is the least. Now compare requirement and capacity. Capacity is 100, requirement is 110. Capacity is lesser than requirement, so I will assign 100 capacity to this. So the remainder is 10 again. Here remainder is nothing, so you can strike out this cell because you allocated that already, and the last cell is 52. Last cell relating to this 52 leftover, and compare requirement and capacity. In this, the capacity is 10, requirement is also 10, so I assigned 10 for each and I strike out it, and 0 requirement and 0 capacity. In this way we obtained we made a allocation for this column. So after this, let us calculate that transportation cost under Vogel's approximation method. We have made 6 allocation: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 allocation. Let's calculate transportation cost. First one is Xij is 160, Cij is 37. 37 into 160 and 40 into 80, 40 into 80 and 10 into 52, 10 into 52, then 16 into 0, Cij is 0 in this case, 16 into 0, then 38 into 90, 38 into 90, this one, then 100 into 40, 100 into 40. So if you made a calculation of this, so under Vogel's approximation method, the total transportation cost is 17,060. So this is how you obtain a transportation cost under Vogel's approximation method. After obtaining basic feasible solution under Vogel's approximation method, let us move into optimization technique, that is MODI method. So I have already explained the steps which you need to follow in MODI method. I will brief here. Firstly, determine basic feasible solution, which is done by Vogel's approximation in this case. Next, check for non-degeneracy and independent allocation. So we have to check the non-degeneracy, that m plus n minus 1 the thing. And after that, if this is non-degeneracy and independent allocation which you made in a basic feasible solution, so introduce dual basic variable, that is ui and vj. After introduction of dual basic variable, find the values for dual basic variable. To find the values for dual basic variable, you need to follow this formula. Cij is equal to ui plus vj. After finding dual basic variable, the value for this, find the penalty for unoccupied cells which are not occupied. You should find the penalty for those cells using this formula, Cij minus ui plus vj. Using this formula, find this. And now this is the situation where you take the decision, so, or stop your procedure or continue your procedure. If all Pij value obtained in the last step is lesser than or equal to 0, it means there must not be any negative value. There may be negative value, there must not be positive value. If all Pij value is lesser than or equal to 0, an optimal solution is arrived. Okay, now you can stop procedure. If some of the Pij values are positive, if some of the Pij value is positive, the current solution is not optimal, then you should identify the most positive value. If there are too many positive value, identify the most positive value and form a construct a loop for that most positive value relating to that cell. Construct a loop and make a new allocation for that loop, and finally you will identify calculate the transportation cost for allocated cells. Allocation and Xij is allocation and Cij is costs. So now let us check the firstly we have done basic feasible solution. Let us complete the second step, that let's check the non-degeneracy in this case. So look at here, this is cells allocation which we obtained from basic feasible solution. So for one allocation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 allocation we have made. So I have taken number of allocation as 6. And look at here, number of M means rows. M means rows means 1, 2, 3. There are 3 rows. 3 rows. So M is 3. I have taken M is 3. And look at here columns. There are 5 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So columns are N. So it means 3 plus 5 minus 1 equal to 6. So 3 plus 5 is 8 minus 1. 8 minus 1, it will become 6. So 7 equal to 6. This is not a case of non-degeneracy. This is the case of degeneracy. In this lecture, you will understand how to solve this degeneracy. It may happen sometimes that the number of occupied cells is less than m plus n minus 1. In such a solution is called degenerate solution. We handle such situation by introducing an infinitesimally small allocation. That allocation is E. Let us see how to tackle this non-degeneracy problem. First, introduce an infinitesimally small allocation, that's E. E is nothing, it is a 0. If you subtract, if you multiply anything from 0, that won't contribute to something. So to fulfill the degeneracy, we will introduce just E. It means it is a one more dummy allocation. You should introduce this E to the least cost in the cost matrix. You should identify the least cost in the cost matrix, least cost cell in the cost matrix, and then you should assign that E. Not only that least cost, that also must be, the cost must be independent. Independent means there is no scope for formation of closed loop. The cell you obtained, that is a least cost, must not be able to form a closed loop. I told you many times what is loop, and that must not be able to form. Example, you found a least value, and which is from least value you are able to form a loop, means you are not going to select that value, go for next least value. And this least cost must be from unallocated cell. Okay, now let us look into that. So look at here, there was no allocation here, 38. Observe this cost cell carefully. So we here there is allocation 0. Here there is no allocation. There is no allocation means which is a least cost in the cost matrix. So we should check whether we can form a closed form loop for this. So let us try. So we can go downward and come this way, and we have no way to go down or go up. Okay, it means we are not able to form a closed loop for this, or else go this way, and you cannot take diversion because there is no allocation. According to loop formation of loop condition, it is not fulfilling. So it means it is a right least cost to make a allocation. But there is also 0, one more least cost. Let's try to form a loop for this. So for this you can go this way and take diversion, take this, and now you can make a join. So this is a closed loop. From this 0, which is a least cost, you are able to form a closed loop, but from this 0 you are not able to form a closed loop. But this is a least cost to make a E allocation, make a new allocation, and due to it is 0, let us try one more cost, the least cost, which is unallocated. Look at here, observe the cost sheet. Here it is a 37 which is allocated, here it is a 38 which is allocated, and here it is a 38 which is not allocated. Let's try, can we form any loop for this? So we can come down because there is allocation. We can also go towards this, but we don't have any direction to go up. Or else let's go here, there is allocation, and we can't go forward because there is no allocation, or we can't come down because there is no allocation. Then this is the right cell to form to give a new allocation. We obtained 0. This is also okay, but due to its dummy destination and there is no cost for this, I am going for another least cost which is independent. It means you are unable to form a closed loop, for which I assigned E. E means there is nothing, it's a 0. If you multiply 38 into 0, it won't affect anything. After introducing epsilon to this cost sheet, this dummy allocation which we made, let us see the whether it is a non-degeneracy form now. So look at here, total allocation now is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and number of rows, which mean n is 5, number of columns is 3. Look at here, columns m is 3, rows are 5, n minus 1. So total number of allocation now becomes 7. So 8 minus 1 equals to 7. 7 equals to 7. Now it is a perfectly non-degeneracy type. It is in a perfectly non-degeneracy type. Now you can go for optimization this technique. So before you go to optimization, now again you need to introduce a dual basic variable. Dual basic variable, that's vi, ui and vj. So ui and vj, let's introduce ui and vj. You know already how to calculate your ui and vj. So this is whether u for v, you can introduce 0 firstly, and later you can calculate the u and vj using allocated cells. Firstly there is a 0 for ui, and now you cannot calculate for this unallocated cells. You will find penalty for this. And in the unallocated cell, look at this, cost is 38 and this is 0. If it wants to become ui plus vj wants to become 38, means v3 must be 38. Now look into the formula. Cij is 38 and ui is 3. 38 equals to 0, ui is 0 and vj is 38. So 0 plus 38, 38 equal to 38. In this way I will also proceed for further. So look at this allocation. Cij is 37, u1 is 0 and v4 must be 37. So after this you cannot find to this unallocated cell because you don't have u2 value, v1 value. Let's find some other cells. Now look at here, we have v3 value, and now you can find u2 value for this. v3 is 38 and cij is 52. So it means 52 must be equal, the cij must be equal to ui plus vj, means 52 must be equal to 38 plus something. So 38 plus something means it must be 14. So 14 plus 38, 42, 52. Now it is become easy. Now you can calculate for this cell because you have one value here. So 40 is Cij, U2 is 14, then it must be 26. 14 plus 26, it becomes 40. 14 plus 26, it becomes 40. Now also you can calculate this for this allocated cell. There is a one value we have, U2 value. The total allocation is 0. Now it's very important you to understand, if total allocation wants to become 0, how we want to try, that's very important. Now U2 is 14, then it must be minus 14. So if it is minus 14 plus 14, this will become 0. Okay, this is minus 14. So once you found this, you can also proceed for this cell because we have one value. So Cij is 40 and V3 is 38. 40 minus 38, so U3 will be 2. So now you found this value, also you can find this value. The Cij is 36 and U3 is 2, so it should be 36. So in this way you found all the values like U1, U2, U3 and V1, V2, V3, V4 and V5. So after finding this value, you can calculate penalty. So let's calculate penalty. Before you calculating penalty, you should define the unoccupied cells. So it means C11 is unoccupied cells, this one, and C12, this is also unoccupied cells, and C15 like that. C11, C12, C13, and let's look in the second row. C22, C24, C22, C24, and in the third row C31, C34, C35, C31, C34, C35. I have defined unoccupied cells first to calculate penalty. Now follow this formula. Ui plus Vj minus Cij must be equal to Pij, penalty. So let's calculate penalty for first column, that's C11. So C11 here, I will apply to the formula, that's Ui plus Vj. Ui here is 0. Ui is 0 plus what? 26. V1 is 26 and minus Cij. Minus Cij means 42. So 0 plus 26, it means 26 only. 26 minus 42, 14 plus 2, it is 16. 16 means minus 16. Minus value is highest in this case. Look at that, I have calculated in same way. So Ui is 0, Vj is 26, minus Cij is 42. Cij is 42. So for C11 penalty is minus 16. Let's look into the second one. C12, this U1 is 0, V2 is 36, and Cij is 48. So 0 plus 36, 36 minus 48, it means minus 12. And third, and the C15, the U1 is 0, V5 is minus 14. So 0 minus 14, Cij is also 0. So minus 14 minus 0, it is minus 14. And next C22, the U2 value is 14 and V2 value is 36, Cij is 49. So 14, 36 minus 49. So 14, 36 is 50. 50 minus 49, it is Cij value is Pij value is 1. And second one, so C24, that ui value is 14, v4 value is 37. So 14 plus 37, 51. 51 minus Cij is 51. Here it is 51, and it is 51 minus 51, 0. And next C31, let's go here. U3 value is 3, here 2, and V1 value is 26, and Cij is 39. So 2 plus 26, 28, minus 39, the value is minus 11. And C34, U3 value is 2, V4 value is 37. So 2 plus 37, 39, the Cij value is 43. 39, 2 plus 37, 39 minus 43, that Pij value is minus 14. And last column, that you C35, U3 value is 2, and this is minus 14, and Cij value is 0. So look at here, 2 minus 14 and minus 14. The 2 minus 14, that's minus 12. The minus 12 minus 0, that is minus 12. So look at the Pij values you obtained for unoccupied cells. So, and why should we find penalty means the penalty must be lesser than or equal to 0. That means there must not be positive penalty. So if there are any positive penalty, you should continue the procedure until you obtain negative or 0 penalty. Here we have all cells negative, that minus 11, minus 4, minus 14, 12 and 16 and 0. These cells are obtaining to the condition, but C22 cell is not obtaining to the condition. So it means this is not an optimal solution, yet you need to proceed further. There must be a negative or 0 in penalty values. So here in C22 there is a positive value. Now let us create a form a new loop, and after forming loop, let us make a new allocation for this. So from C22, this is C22, this is C22, this is, and from which we need to form a loop. Let us see the possible ways to form a loop. So we don't have ways to go here. As you know already, to form loop we must take a diversion in where the allocation cells are available, and we have to take only horizontal and vertical direction axis only. And after forming a loop, we should assign plus and minus sign. We begin with plus sign. Where you started, there you should assign a plus sign. So let us see the possible ways for forming loop. So it means we have a ways to go here, but we don't have ways to come down or go up because there is no allocation. Then we can go here because there is allocation. Also we can turn down, there is allocation. We can turn this side, there is allocation, and finally we can join this. So this is a closed loop for this for the C22 value. Now as I said you, we should give a plus and minus sign. We begin with plus sign, plus, minus, plus and minus. So compare plus sign. In a plus sign allocation, there is there we have 2 plus 1 2. In this 2 minus 1 2. Here 10 allocation, there is a 10 allocation, here 90 allocation. Compare with both of minus sign value allocation. So here 10 is least compared to 90. So from 10 you should add here you should subtract here, you should add here, because there is a plus sign, we will add here, there is a minus sign, we will subtract here, and from 10 we should perform this this operation. Let I will show you here example. This is a loop of this. So there is a minus sign, it means 10 minus 10, there will not be any allocation, it means 0 allocation. Here 110 is there, there is a plus sign, if you add 10 it will become 110. It was 110 and we have to add 10 because there is a plus sign, so this is 110. And it is 90 and it is minus sign, so 90 minus 10, it is 80. And this is a plus sign and there is no allocation, so if you add 10 here, it will become 10. So there was allocation in C23, but after forming a loop, we made that allocation to C1 to C21. So there is no allocation in C23, and we in this way we formed a loop and made a new allocation. So after allocating this, let us see how it will be allocation. So it was there was a allocation here, and it is allocated to this place. So there is no allocation here. Again, it is a degeneracy because there is 7 allocation and m plus n minus 1 equals to 7. So for this, again we need to calculate a penalty. Before penalty, we need to calculate v1, v2, v3 and v4 value, and u1, u2, u3 value. Again I am starting with 0, and here it is there is no allocation, here it is a allocation. 0 plus 38 equals to 38. So 38, 0 plus 38 equals to Cij, and here 0 plus 37 equals to Cij. So it must be v4 must be 37 because 0 v1 u1 is 0, u1 plus vj, v4 is 37 equals to 37. And you can't find this u2 value because there is no value for u1 and v1. Also this also can't be found now, so we can find out this because we can find this value because we have one value here. So u3 Cij value is 40 and v3 value is 38. It means u3 is 2. Okay, so now you have u3 value and you can find here u2 value, and 38 is Cij, 2 plus 36 is 38. Follow this formula to calculate this value, and you have this value and you can calculate u2 value here. So 49, it is a 36, it means it must be plus 13, it means 13 plus 36, 39, 49. And now you can calculate v1 value. Here it is 13, here it is 14, it means 27. So you have the u2 value. Now you can also find this v3 v5 value. So minus 13 is there and Cij is 0, so it means it must be minus 13. Okay, we found all the values u1 v1 v2 v3 v4 v5, u1 u2 u3 value we found. Now we can calculate penalty again. And now let us calculate penalty for the v1 and v2 value using unoccupied cells. Look at here. We should define the unoccupied cells first. In this C11, C12 and C15, C11, C12, C15, and second one C23, C24, C23 and C23 and C4, and in third one C24, C31, C34, C35, C31, C34, 35. Let's calculate each and everything as usual. So for C11, UI value is 0 and V1 value, U1 value is 0, V1 value is 27. 27 minus 42, it is minus 15. Minus 15. Second V12, so 0, 36, 36 minus 48, it is 12. First V15, 0 minus 13. So 0 minus 13, V as a value is C as a value is also 0, so minus 13. C23, this U2 value is 13 and V3 value is 38. So 13 plus 38, 13 plus 38, 51 minus 52. So it is also minus 1. And 24, U24, U2 value is 13 and 37. 13 plus 37, 50. That 13 plus 37, 50 minus 51, that is minus 1. And again 31, in the 31, U3 value is 2 and V1 value is 27. So 2 plus 27, 29 minus 39, Cij is 39 here, 37 minus 10. And 3, 4, so U3 value is 2, V4 value is 37. 2 plus 37, 39 minus 43, 39 minus 43, it becomes minus 4. And last one, U3, 35, U3 value is 2 and this V5 value is minus 13. 2 minus 13, that's minus 11, minus 0, that is 11. So penalties, all penalties which we have calculated after making a new allocation is lesser than or equal to 0. It means no positive values are here, so that it is the situation where optimum solution is reached. So now let us calculate transportation cost under Modi method. Then let us see how much transportation cost is there. For allocated cell we are calculating. So here Xij is E, Cij is 38, E 38. So E into 38, E means 0, 38 is into 0, it is 0 only. And 160 into 37, 160 into 37, 5920. And 80 into 40, 80 into 40, 3200. And 10 into 49, 10 into 49, 490. And 60 into 0, 0, it is 0 only. And 80 into 38, 80 into 38, 3040. And lastly 40 into 110, 40 into 110, so 4400. So totally after adding all this, the transportation cost under Modi method, modified distribution method, is 17,050. So let us compare all the basic feasible solution and Modi method here. So I have calculated under Vogel's approximation method in this problem, from which we have obtained 17,060. It is a solution transportation cost under Vogel's approximation method. And I have also calculated under least cost method, which is 18,780. And I have also calculated under northwest corner cell method, which is 20,370. So we have calculated under Modi method, which is 17,050. So compared to basic feasible solution, optimal solution is highest. Under this the objective function is reached, it means total cost is reduced, so that we achieved the result like this. And look at this, Vogel's approximation method is most accurate method to calculate transportation cost.